Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Flavor and Fiction. You're probably wondering why I'm doing this from my car this morning. I can explain. So last night, I made the recipe that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And my sister came over and brought some wine. And yeah, I overslept just a few minutes this morning. So I wanted to be on time today, which by this traffic, who knows if I will. But yeah, that's why I'm talking to you from my car, because I really wanted to post this video today and tell you about this great book. So here we go. So the book we're discussing today is called Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. You may have heard of her. I think she has maybe now 3 books out. And this was her, I want to say her second book. It's a book written in verse. And I didn't know how I was going to like it, but let me tell you, I loved it. And what happened was, I wasn't supposed to be reading that book. It was not part of my 2019 reading challenge. I went to the library to get the book that is a part of my challenge, and it wasn't there. But right next to it, where it was supposed to be, was Poet X. So it was a last minute pick, which is why I decided to pair it with a last minute meal. So I went to Pinterest, my best friend, and I found a recipe for a last minute turkey chili. And this is chilly weather. I mean, come on. Like, it's November, it's cold, turkey chili is perfect. So last night I made the turkey chili, and, the rest, my sister came over with the wine. And it was delicious. So I'm going to show you inserts of video of where I made it last night. But let's start with the book. So when the book opens, we meet Xiomara. She's a teenager living in Harlem with her mother, her father, and her twin brother, Acevedo. And she doesn't really feel connected to anything, as a lot of teenagers don't. And she's not really sure what she wants to do with her life. But her mother is super, super religious, Catholic. And she goes to Catholic school. And her mom wants her to become a nun. And Xiomara is not really into this idea. She's not sure what she believes in. She's not sure if she believes in God, and she's just not a religious person. So Xiomara has like a really tumultuous relationship with her mother. She can't talk to her about anything because her mom is so set on her just like being locked away until she become a nun. And then we find out later that her mother actually wanted to be a nun, but she ended up getting paired with her father when she was pretty young and getting pregnant and getting married. And she felt like her life went downhill because now she has an alcoholic husband and, 2 kids that she's trying to beat into submission. So she wants Xiomara to be a nun. So there's no in between for her. So there's not a lot for them to talk about. And Xiomara feels really alone. She's close to her brother and she has a best friend, and they're like her saving grace. So as the story moves on, we see that Xiomara has a poetry journal, and she has a teacher that recognizes something in her, and she ends up pulling Xiomara into like a poetry club at school. And Xiomara has to keep this a secret because she knows that her mother will not approve at all. Throughout the majority of the book, she's preparing for this poetry slam that her teacher or another poetry student has told her about, and she's really excited about it and nervous about it and going back and forth about whether or not to do it. And when she does it, she feels like she's on fire, like she has a very visceral response to it, and that's when she knows for sure that she's meant to be a poet. So now she has the purpose in life, and things start opening up for her. She meets a boy, of course, has to keep that secret. But her poems become more expressive. She writes about anything she wants to write about, anything that she doesn't understand, anything that scares her. She writes about her mother and father's relationship. She writes about, I'm not sure if she writes about her brother. Her brother has a secret, by the way. She writes about the boy that she has been meeting and making out with in the park, and just her feelings. So her poetry gets a little more, explicit. And then one day the unthinkable happens, and her mother finds the poetry journal, and all hell breaks loose. But I don't want to give too much away. But let me say this about Elizabeth's writing. She is amazing at dropping like really heavy stuff in just a few short verses. There were so many moments that like caught you, that really were heavy, but it was just written so beautifully that like it was just so impressive. But for now, I'm going to take you over to the turkey chili that was made last night, so you can get a little quick recipe. And by the way, it was delicious. I ended up eating mine with some tortilla chips, but you can eat it over rice or with cornbread or whatever, but it was so good. So here we go. So normally I would show you when I try the dish that I make, just so you can see my honest first reaction. But we were in our pajamas watching Hallmark Christmas movies with our hair looking crazy. So yeah, that wasn't going to happen. But trust me, it was delicious. And I'm having leftovers for dinner tonight. I think we both are. I think I'm going to have it over a baked potato this time. Anywho, be sure to go out and get this book. It was really good, and I plan to read her other works. I can put a link to the book down below. And I'm just now getting to work, thankfully, just a little bit late. And this traffic was ridiculous. But thank you for joining me for another episode of Flavor and Fiction, and I'll see you next week.